I got to say, Mark, could you do that one more time? Mark and I don't agree on a lot of things here, but could you use that helmet one more time, Mark, to let everyone know who the correct answer is? Thank you. And Mark Rogers TV, the voice of Florida. Why is it going to be Florida, in your opinion? Why Florida had the best chance of beating Florida out of that group of 5?
The reason I chose Florida, and I think most of those teams outside of Clemson are pretty much on the same line. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're playing Alabama, but then they're also going to be an underdog against Iowa State. Like all those schools right now, as they're playing right now, entering 21, are on the same line except Clemson. The reason Florida jumps out to me is, number one, they were so reliant on that passing game last year, and that's been dismantled. Mm-hmm. They've got a new offense this year, a new quarterback. I don't trust their offense. They're going to be fairly run heavy from what I understand. So you got a passing minded coach who's going to implement, like, they're going to go from like 65-70% passes to like 60% runs. I just think to rely on a defense that was awful last year and a running game that was non-existent to transform that kind of team, plus the games at the end of the season, of course. And consider Florida has high expectations. The way Dan Mulleney's done a nice job. He's gone to 3 New Year's 6 bowl games. They've accomplished to a certain level that I think, let's say they go into that game 7-4. They've got Georgia, LSU, Alabama. Maybe they trip up against somebody and they've got a disappointing season. They're going to be on a downward trajectory, not feeling good about themselves. Florida State, on the other hand, if Florida State goes into that game, let's say 6-5, Florida State's going to be feeling good about themselves. They're going to be feeling good about their season. And there's more ceiling there for Florida State to improve as a team than there is for Florida. So I think if Norvell knows what he's doing and his coaching staff, they could be a much better team the last week of November than they were the first week of September.
And I think I'm going to use your phrase here. You love it when I use it. I think you hit the nail on the head with one thing you just said there. People are looking at the fact of Florida's schedule. Florida has Alabama and Tennessee in back-to-back weeks. Florida has to go to LSU this season. Florida has to go – they play Georgia, obviously, in Jacksonville. They have to go to South Carolina. I think South Carolina is going to be a much better team with Shane Beamer at head coach. Their non-conference schedule is not as easy as it has been in previous years. They do have to play FAU, who's arguably been one of the better teams in the state of Florida of late. They go to USF. They have us at the end of the season. I'm not saying Florida is going to be the 4-7 Florida Gators they were in the past, but Florida is going to be a beat-up team by the time Florida State comes in. Yes, Antonio Dupree, I understand why people are saying North Carolina. I think North Carolina is number 2 because I think Florida State knows we can beat North Carolina after what happened last season. They know we can beat Sam Howell. But that's also an October 9th game. That's a little early in the season. They're not going to be as beat up. Florida's going to be beat to hell by November 27th. Florida could easily, like you said, Mark, could easily be a 6-5, 7-4 team limping into that final game of the season. So that's why I'm going to have to go with Florida. I think Florida State. You know what? I'm busy giving you predictions. I'm going to call it right now. Give me a drum roll, Logan. Give me a drum roll.
Now, is this drum roll going to be worth it?
Give me a drum roll.
It's going to be different?
Give me a drum roll.
Hit the like button, too, down here.
Is it going to be for 2023?
Oh, it's going to be for 2021. Are you ready?
Okay.
Ready? Look,
ready. We're ready.
Florida State beats Florida this season.
Oh, hold on. Someone write it down. Where do I get my notebook at?
Write it down. Lieutenant Dan on offense. Emmett Rice. Oh, let me get in there. Emmett Rice on defense. He'll be wearing a different jersey number. Both of them lead us to victory in Gainesville on November 27th.
Jason says FSU beats.
FSU beats Florida. And FSU beats Miami in 2022. Mark it down. Mark it down, Logan.
I'm surprised you're not giving FSU a better chance to beat Miami.
Because I think Miami, I think Florida State does lose to Miami this season because I do believe that this is a Miami team that was truly awakened by what happened last season, by getting blown out against North Carolina, by losing against Oklahoma State in the Cheez-It Bowl. Here's what I will say about Miami. Miami hasn't been in this position. In 2017, they were 10-0, but then they lost the final 3 games of the season. That was the Miami team we have seen much of the last decade and a half, an underachieving Miami team. I'm willing to give Miami the benefit of the doubt because I think De'Aaron King is the best player in the state of Florida. I think he's a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate entering the season. That being said, what is going on, Logan? What are you doing?
I've seen if we're going to celebrate and hit 100 likes or not, and I'm going to go chug a drink live on stream.
Trade, that's fine. I legitimately believe that Miami. I think they can. I think they win the Coastal Division. I think they are going to beat North Carolina. I think they're going to win the Coastal Division. I think they're going to slip up against a Virginia Tech, a UVA, and NC State. They'll slip up in a game they shouldn't. They'll go 10-2, something like that. But I legitimately think that this Miami team is going to be much better than it has been the past 3 or 4 seasons. That being said, could they be as bad as the 6 and 7 team they were in 2019? Yes, they could. It's going to be those games. It's going to be that Thursday night game against Virginia. It's going to be that game against NC State. It's going to be that game on the road at Pitt. Do they actually do like we've said about Florida State? Miami's in the same boat. Can Miami actually win the games they're supposed to win?
Worst case scenario for Florida State within reason is that they lose all 5 games that they're supposed to lose, that they're substantial underdog or should be, and then they trip up once or twice against, which is understandable and could happen. Boston College, NC State, Louisville, there's enough of those other teams to trip them up.
Florida State could easily be, in a perfect world, a 7-5, 8-4 team. If everything plays out and the stars align perfectly, Florida State could be that good. Florida State also could be a 4-8 team. We just need to realize that. So fans, get your hopes high, but don't get them too high that you aren't prepared for the eventual fall. Okay.
And that's why I always like to place it in context, because this team does have the toughest schedule in the conference, and it's not even close.
In the country. We have the toughest schedule in the country. We play 2 playoff teams this season. Notre Dame and Clemson, 2 teams that made the playoff last year. We play a Miami team. We play a Florida team that went to the New Year's Six last year, and they got annihilated by Oklahoma. We play a North Carolina team that won that went down to the Orange Bowl last season. We play, I would say, the toughest schedule in the country.
Yeah, you play in the tougher of the 2 divisions, then you play the 2 best teams in the other division, then you stack up with those 2 heavyweights out of conference, and nobody else has to face that in the ACC. Not even close.
You know how we'd win? If Warwick Dunn, Peter Warwick, and Marvin Jones had one more year of eligibility. That'd be great.
Unfortunately, we've hit 7 o'clock and we need to run. Now, I will say this. We've got 131 on the line. That's the most people we've had on the line in quite some time. 131. Most of those people have joined us. Most of you late in the show. So you wait for the video to process. It's going to post here in the next 15 minutes. Watch what you missed.